Yeah, I would just like to start to please keep the entire Stoops family in your hearts and minds on the recent passing of Mark and Mike's mother, Dee. A really tough and somber day today as they lay her to rest. So please, just a little prayer today would be great.
All right, thanks. And we'll go ahead and throw it open for questions for Coach White.
Brad, anything on film change your perception?
No, and I think it's what we all saw on Saturday. It's what we saw live and in person. We up front defensively, we need to be better. From a run fit standpoint, I think collectively we're all embarrassed by that performance, especially against the run. For the most part, I thought the secondary capped the defense, and that was the goal. Other than one scramble play, and I thought they did a nice job. But what we didn't do is, and something that we knew they had a really good running back, but was a little bit unexpected, was to fit the run as poorly as we did. Some of the tackling was not good and up to our standards. So obviously need to get that cleaned up with a really good run game this weekend.
Was it physicality? Was it gap control? What do you think brought most of those problems in the fitting the run?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think there was, when we've played really well, our front seven this year has been dominant. I don't think we were nearly, obviously we weren't dominant. There was nothing, dominant about that performance. We need to get back to that. Obviously, at this point in the season, guys can get, nicks here and there, but everybody's got that. And so this is where that true toughness, the true grit, and your true character really starts to shine through. In this sort of back end of the season, you've got to play through some of those bumps and bruises. You got to play physical. You can't get worn down physically or mentally. You got to keep fitting. You got to keep striking. And you got to keep tackling.
The year out, was there any consideration of playing Baber again? I know he's got one more game left. That he could still redshirt. What's the status there?
Yeah, with that one, we've been trying to, really be mindful of that one game and, which one to use it on. And so we've got to. There really wasn't. If maybe it had happened way before, we've had him sort of prepped and ready, as we go through. So we just have to be mindful of when to use that.
Brad, we know about Tennessee's firepower. I know that your defense has struggled in the last couple matchups against them, especially down in Knoxville. How are you guys preparing for them and trying to get a different result there?
Yeah, it starts with playing better. Regardless of the team that we're playing on Saturday, we have to play better. And we have to be sort of efficient in terms of how we play defense. And when I say efficient, it can't be, hey, we have a couple of good plays and then we give up an explosive. Like that we have got to stay the course. And so much of last week was, hey, make sure these receivers don't get behind us. Well, we do that and they get explosive in the run game. Explosives are explosives, and we've got to be mindful of being able to keep the ball in front of us, force the offense to keep moving the ball. And we're trying to take calculated risks and shots, to go get pressure on a QB, to go try to create a negative play. But we also have to be mindful of understanding what explosives do to the momentum of a game. And so, they've got firepower on the outside edges. I mean, obviously, Sampson as a running back is extremely, extremely talented. We saw what he did last year, in that game. So
you guys are, as a unit, are getting turnovers still, and you would have had more earlier in the season if those fumbles bounced your way, but you guys are still getting a ton of turnovers. Is that kind of the key in a big road game, tough environment like that, trying to get a couple of those?
Yeah, turnovers are huge. Creating shorter fields for the offense are huge. When you go on the road in a really tough environment, you've got to play really good complementary football. You've got to give the offense possessions and field position where they have a chance to be successful. We know what kind of environment it's going to be. Night game down in Knoxville, so it's going to be loud. We've got to give them opportunities, and if we can do that through turnovers, if we can do that through 3 and outs that create a punting situation that's backed up. To me, that was one of the most crucial moments of the game, and every moment has its time, but we're up 10-0 last week, and they were 3 and out, 2 and an interception, and we're about to go 3 and out again, and it's 3rd down, and we lose contain, and he's able to break the pocket on a scramble drill, get a 25-yard completion. We end up getting off the field, forcing a punt, but instead of punting from inside their own 10-yard line, they're punting close to the 50. That's a huge field position difference. That is not playing complementary football from a defensive standpoint, trying to help your offense be successful. And so those are the moments that we need to do better and capitalize on. And it's just as simple as doing our job, being fundamentally sound, understanding what we're trying to do. We're bringing a big, heavy middle pressure. Well, the only place he's going to escape is outside. So making sure we get high and outside to keep him in the middle. Those things are things that we have to do better as a defense. And we have to do better coaching-wise, that there's a complete understanding of what we're trying to get done on each of our plays.
Right, what have you seen from Noah and Tyrese, and what do you need to continue seeing from them in the case JJ isn't able to get out?
Yeah, they need to continue to grow and execute at a high level. They both have potential. They're different style players. Noah a little bit more physical. Tyrese a little bit looser, more fluid. And so they each bring something a little bit different. They have to learn how to play to their strength, but they also just need to do it consistently. And they've each had moments where they've done things well, and they've each had moments where they've done some things that have hurt the defense on that specific play. And so we have to get those out.
You mentioned complementary football. When the shoe's on the other foot, there's back-to-back weeks where you get a turnover and a favorable field position. Can it be challenging mentally for the defense if the offense isn't taking advantage of those opportunities?
Honestly, if you're a mentally tough football team, the only thing that matters is the next series. It shouldn't matter the score. It shouldn't matter where the field position is. It shouldn't. If you're what you want to be as a defense, every time you step across that line, you take it as a challenge, however you got there. If you're worried about how it got there, you're worrying about the wrong thing. And so, to say momentum doesn't play a part in football or in sports is completely, that'd be to say you have complete blinders on. It does, like the momentum. But as far as going out on the field and, whatever happened after a forced turnover or this or that, like that, listen, you're worried about the wrong thing if you're too worried about that. We've got to go back out and force another one. we've got to go back out and worry about the next play. And then force it to second down, force it to third down, and then get off the field. And that's where our eyes, our vision need to be.
Brad, what's been your assessment of J.Q. Martinez?
I think JQ's played well for the most part. I think he would be the first to admit, I think there were some tackles, on some hitch plays that he should make and then he would expect himself to make. But there was also some others that you saw what we expect of him. I think of one to their sideline. They throw a hitch. He comes down, bangs it, drives it back, 4 or 5 yard. Hitch tackles aren't going to lose you a game in terms of like if you make the tackle. Hitch tackles can lose you a game if you miss the tackle, right? They can create explosives. So I think, like most guys on our defense right now, he has played winning football for a large chunk of his plays, and then there are plays like all of us, including me as a coordinator, that you'd like to have back.
Generally speaking, just losses are stacking up. How do you try to keep the team morale up when you're going to play a top 10 team on the road?
Yeah, I think you just have to stay focused on the task. Listen, we had this same question, right, going into Ole Miss, and it's not to, listen, if you have another opportunity to go on the field, you've got another opportunity to prove yourself, and there's no worse feeling than ending on an embarrassing loss and they give you no more games. We've got an opportunity as a defense, as a team, to go back out on the field and prove who we really are, to prove what this program's about. And you either accept that challenge or you don't. And I've got great confidence in this group that they're going to go out and they're going to practice, and they're going to practice hard, and they're going to prep, and they're going to show up on Saturday ready to go. Now, how that ends up playing out, we'll all find out on Saturday night. But they're not going to go in there wallowing. No.
Sorry.
Yep.
Thought you were done.